Alright, welcome to the second episode of my coverage on Grepolis, the kind of content you will not find anywhere else. Someone covering a 2-year-old Grepolis world, but basically this will be the history of US94 Olous, which is a world that occurred in 2020, I think. We'll go into some strategy. The last video was kind of about how Grepolis competitive is in general. This is more of like how a world I played in actually played out and the history and all that stuff. So let's check it out. So the first thing is the settings. Now, when I'm looking at these settings, maybe you should see my cursor because it's actually useful here. Okay, I'll turn that on. So the first thing I'm looking at is the speed. The speed is all important. Speed 3, that is slow in my opinion for modern Grepolis. I think 4 is like the minimum for my preference, but yeah, it is speed 3, which is not abysmally slow. It's not like 1 or 2, but things will take a while. So the next thing is the all-important night bonus. Now, I was hesitant to play a no night bonus world because this means, yeah, people will attack you at night, which is super annoying. But if your team has a night shift crew or just people who stay up late in general, then this is generally an advantage. I personally prefer night bonus. Beginner's protection, that does not matter. Alliance limit, this one's actually interesting. If you look in the bottom right here, last ed, October 21st, you can see this world came out on the 13th. And at the start, the alliance limit was set to 20, which honestly I like in some senses because I think to divide the good players up, you need a lot of smaller teams. Like 40 can hold like all of the best players, and then you're just going to crush the server. But in this case, the end game is world wonders. If you don't know how that works, basically, you feed resources into a main group of players, and they build world wonders. Yeah, basically, it's really annoying with 20. Not super annoying because you can have sister alliances that feed, but it's annoying. So yeah, so they changed it to 40 after people complained. Just whatever. Revolt. I only play Revolt, so yeah. And then morale. This is interesting for those who don't know. Morale is basically a setting where the more points you have, you get like a reduced attack against lower point players. So bigger players have reduced attack, basically, against smaller players, against bigger players. Yeah. So I mean that's a setting. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it because I I I don't know. It is what it is. It's whatever. So this is the origin story of the team that we will see later on. A post by Bradon the Destroyer on the forums on the day the world comes out, I believe. Yeah, 13th. Yeah, he's looking for pre-mades basically. And I don't think anyone responded or there are no pre-mades. So then they end up forming their own group called The Usual Suspects, which is a reference to a movie I've never seen, or maybe not, I don't know. Not really sure, to be honest. And basically, I wasn't even planning on playing this world. I was playing on just golding, and the reason for that is because I wasn't really confident in playing a no night bonus world. But it worked out because they formed their own group. This was still when the alliance cap was 20. And they were looking to fill it out with players, and I got an invite before beginner's protection. And I think typically, I remember I was pretty hesitant to join because, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was excited. I joined before beginner's protection drop, but like for a team like this, you can't really tell because, to be honest, I had never played with any of these players. I'd never seen them, so I wasn't really sure what I was getting into. But yeah, I joined. I think I specified that I wasn't sure how well I could play no night bonus because I was like, I gotta sleep and stuff. But they're like, oh, it's okay. We're just casual. It's all chill. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll join. So you can see, Grapple Life doesn't really track before beginner protection comes down. So yeah, but yeah, this is one of the original members, or I guess not the original, because these guys came pre-made in quotations from a previous world. But I was one of the first few members, so yeah. So let's skip to 1 month in, basically. And this is from a sink or swim post I made. And so let's look at the map. So in green, we have the usual suspects. This is our team. I think we started on this island down here, maybe? Not sure, maybe, yeah, I think it was this island. And there was originally an alliance called Bad News Bears over here. Some drama, it honestly doesn't matter. But basically, we fought a war with them, and then we crushed them. So yeah, and then there was another alliance called WTF, and then yeah. But basically, the good players from here got absorbed. We basically crushed the people here very quickly, so yeah. Oh, I think maybe this was the original island. Or maybe not. I don't remember. But yeah, we started in this corner down here. And then I think I started on this island here. I think this was my city? Maybe? That was my starting city? So yeah, I was a bit out there, but I expanded over this way. And in the blue, you see King's Court. And this is a group of a lot of solid players, a lot of people who've historically done well, a lot of experience. So yeah, they have a tight core on this island, but yeah. And then Avengers 2. And the reason they have the 2 is because I explained originally there was an alliance cap of 20, which meant they had a sister alliance, Avengers, and then their sister alliance was Avengers 2, but then they all merged into Avengers 2 for some reason and kept the 2. Funny story, but it's cool. Honey Badgers up here, these later become a group called Wild Cards, I think. It doesn't really matter. And then Warlords over here, which is a relevant group. And there's also a bunch of other groups. Like, I think there's a group called From the Ashes over here, Shawnee over here. But these groups don't really have any chance of winning. It's something you can kind of tell. Not that I thought that these guys, like King's Court, don't really have a chance of winning, but they're going to play an important role. And when we analyze this kind of map, I'll analyze it from the TUS perspective. So when you look at this, there's like not much room in these islands over here. And your main competitors in this spot is going to be Avengers. You can see their core is pretty tight. They have this island basically fully under control. They've gone this rock. They're closing in on this island over here. And it looks like they're going to be fighting a war up here. So if I'm playing, I guess I'm from the Avengers perspective, I want to expand up because Honey Badgers are weaker. But then maybe you're also fine with King's Court. Maybe they had a pact. I don't know. But from the green perspective, we basically don't really have a choice. We have to expand up this way because we want to be fine with Avengers, assuming that we think we can take them. So we basically have to break this island right here. We have to break King's Court, which is very annoying because these are mostly defensive players as well. But basically how it worked is there's like one city around here or here, and the importance of basically having an island completely under your control is it's super important. And the reason for that is because as soon as an enemy takes one of these cities, they can get so much intel on you. They can constantly poke and prod all these cities around here, and then you basically can't do anything because if the team is competent, they're going to have a lot of defense sitting in that city so that it's not really worth attacking them. And then from there, especially if you're a defensive alliance, you have no choice. You have no chance to break that defense. And then that person on that island can poke and prod all over here. They can test people, see if they're offline. And basically, as soon as one of these cities falls, if the player who gets on that island is competent, then they can make the lives of these people hell. It is super annoying. So that's basically what happened. And this is my favorite part of the early game too. I still remember this. It's when, you're, as a team, you're trying to dump everything in to get one city, and getting one city can change the whole course of the world. I remember, I think Vig got one of these cities, who's a fantastic player, one of the best players I've ever played with. And then from there, this island's crumbling. We're basically gonna take over this island. You won't see another map. But yeah, we take over this island over here, and then we're fighting with Avengers. But then, I don't know, some drama with their leadership, I think, something. But they fall apart, and we absorb most of the good Avengers players. And then, yeah, so we go from there. I guess we can, I forgot, this is my analysis at the time. So we were number 1 in all stats, victory against Bad News Bears, domination in 45 is all but assured. Avengers 2, let's see what I say. Solid roster, solid core. Badgers could slow their expansion. Yeah. And then King's Court. A lot of good Revolt players. See what else I said. Float for now. Probably absorb later. Yeah. I should have said Sync in retrospect. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But yeah. So that was my analysis 1 month in. Unfortunately, we don't have another map, but we can see 2 months in, I had another forum post. This one, King's Court fell. They got absorbed into Avengers. Then 2 weeks later, Avengers gets broken down. Honey Badgers transforms into Wild Cards, and Warlords reformed into Skirmish mode. Basically, we got like a top player from Warlords. Warlords was actually a good alliance, but then there's some drama there. Teams fall apart. I guess that's kind of a story in this world. And then Coach's Corner, but these guys later leave to play another world. And then, yeah, basically we roll over the world. So you can see the final stats. I mean, there's not much to say here. Yeah, you lose some. I'd say probably the only real losses are against Skirmish mode. These are, the rest of the losses are probably like internals or people like leaving the game without saying anything. So, and then we get into the trash talk. This guy says, how on earth did this world become non-competitive so quickly? Do these guys even want to play? And this is a common theme. I'm guilty of this sometimes, because basically, as we'll see later, this world is over 2 months in, basically, because people realize that they have no chance, or one group has a bunch of good players, they start crushing other groups, there's drama because they're losing cities, their leadership falls apart, and then basically everyone realizes they have no chance against the dominating group, and then they just kind of peter out. Sometimes they just ghost. So yeah, that's kind of what happens here, and a common theme is to like blame the winning team for using non-competitive strategies. And non-competitive strategies, I'd say, are basically absorbing the best players, like having the best players just swap to your side. It basically kills all momentum from the enemy, which kind of happened because we got one of the big players from Warlords, but that was like drama. I don't know. But yeah, so there's a debate on whether this world was non-competitive. But from my perspective, I think in the end it was definitely non-competitive, but it definitely didn't start this way. And you can see this forum post by Bradon. Basically, it says that, I mean, these guys started as a super small alliance. Like, I was hesitant on joining because, one, I didn't even know if I'd play, I didn't even know if this team was going to do well. But yeah, so they start off super small, no sister alliance, And yeah, we basically fought hard. And yeah, so good leadership, good players, and won the world. And it is non-competitive at the end, but it definitely didn't start that way. So I have a hard time buying that this was like uh super like that Tuss ruined the world or something. I don't know, because usually when I think of non-competitive, it's like a pre-made dropping in with like 30 of the best, most experienced players on a server. They dominate start to finish. And I definitely wouldn't say we dominate start to finish. Although we were dominating the whole time, it's like, yeah, humble beginnings, you know? Humble beginnings. And also, this I will not stand for. Merchant shop slander. No, no, no. Merchant shops are king. But I will say, if you're losing a city, you should probably have towers. But I do love my merchant shops. So yeah. And then we can see 67 days with, this post says, with Krager and Kwanzaa ghosting. For those who are paying attention, these guys will later team up with us in 104 Epidemos. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. So yeah, maybe that's for a future episode. But yeah, the server is basically over 2 months in, which to be honest isn't a bad run. I'd say a lot of servers are kind of over from the day they start, depending on the pre-mades. But yeah, I mean, usually not. Usually at least a month, but still, yeah, 67 days to win a server. And the funny thing is, because of how World Wonders works, we basically have to wait 6 months, which for me really kills the game. Like the fact that, like, I don't know how to fix it, but the fact that you have to wait 6 months, you have to play for 6 months in a server where you know the outcome is just, to be honest, that just really kind of kills the game for me. I mean, I still have super fond memories of this world, but just like playing that extra 6 months is, I mean, it's annoying. But yeah, so that's the end of this. I think Bradon made a good post on the history of this world. But yeah, it was a super fun world. I met a lot of awesome people. Like this core group is amazing and they're super nice. And yeah, I love playing this world. It was kind of an underdog story, humble beginnings, as I said. Some drama, not the most interesting drama to be honest. I mean, I wasn't really like into it, so yeah. But fun world, and yeah, that's the history.